so in answering this question, I'd like to focus on the narrative aspect of it. So for instance, it's important to be careful that we don't fall into a scenario where we blame the Ukrainian migrants for the improved treatment that they're receiving when compared to everyone else. I think it's important to call attention to the authorities that have the responsibility to ensure that everyone is treated with dignity and with respect, especially those that are the most vulnerable. We have children that are unaccompanied or that are traveling in ways that are very dangerous for them, and other vulnerable population groups. And I think also we have to really debunk the false narrative that describes border communities of being under threat by migrants who are Black, brown, and indigenous. The use of militaristic language and water metaphors dehumanizes migrants and people generally, because it points to them as being a problem rather than working towards solutions that uplifts their dignity. So for instance, if you review closely the Border Patrol Union's chatter on Twitter, they really are presenting the language of surge, which is again militaristic language. And it increases the acceptance and the tolerance for violent response to people who are migrating. And we've seen this, and I've seen this through previous administrations, the use of collective punishment. So when under the Trump administration, many times, and at least twice under the Biden administration, the closing down of ports and bringing out many agents to engage in these exercises where they shoot and fire flashbang grenades and smoke bombs to prepare for the possible incursion of a large group of migrants through the port of entry. All of this serves to present a narrative that migrants are violent, that are here to invade and are here as a surge, rather than needing to be responded with humanitarian aspects, which have yet to be fully developed even under the Biden administration. It's what we're seeing is very dangerous right now with many Democrats who are also possibly contemplating the keeping of Title 42, despite the fact that this was really pushed forward by Stephen Miller under the Trump administration, and that its origins of Title 42 back in the 1940s have a racist background that were developed with the purpose of the possibility of stopping migrants who were coming from countries that seemed to be depicted as undeserving, to be sending their nationals to the US to become part of this country. So those are the two aspects that I would point out in terms of how the narrative is getting framed around the topic of Title 42 especially.
Yeah, that's really, really good, and I think really helpful for us listening in. We talk about everyday peacemaking is not just about responding, reacting and responding, but it's about who are we becoming and how are we interrogating systems and structures that we have inherited that place people like me in areas where we're scapegoating those that don't look like me, the people that are coming to our borders who we see as a threat simply because we don't understand their plight. We've historically marginalized and oppressed people with the color of their skin. This is a bigger formational invitation for us as we think about this one specific moment to say, what have I been part of and how am I intentionally dismantling that in my own heart and consciousness such that I can show up in constructive ways in moments like this.